This is Andrew for CollectionDX.com, taking a look at the Stunticon Big Boss Man Combiner Wars Motormaster. So he stands about a good 7 inches tall, which allows him to look appropriately big next to all of his troops right here. And I'm just going to take these guys out and we will focus on Motormaster himself. So this toy is also being used as the Combiner Wars Optimus Prime, but I think it actually works a lot better as Motormaster. Even though his alternate mode is a little bit different now, he's just the semi-truck cab itself, not the whole semi-truck. I still think it looks pretty good, even robot mode, because he gets kind of all the basics right. He's a chunky guy, he's got black feet, he's got the little block head, and you know, he's gray. So that's pretty much what Motormaster is, and that's all that matters. So as far as articulation goes, he's got a nice little ball-jointed head. You can look all around. His shoulders have a swivel joint right here. And also you can use the transformation joint to bring his arms inward like this. And you can try to get him to cross his arms, but it might look a little awkward. Now his outward shoulder movement is kind of interesting because there's actually a ratchet. I'm not sure why, because he actually doesn't use that in his combined mode. And on this side, this one is a little bit stronger. But, you know, it's cool that he can get his arms out and there's actually some tension in there. He's got a little bicep swivel here. This is also part of the transformation. And pretty much single jointed elbows, which are part of the transformation, so we can put his elbows facing backwards if he wants. And this is for combiner mode, but you can totally kind of lift up his hands a bit, but that looks kind of silly. So below the waist, he actually has a fully moving waist joint. This is again part of the transformation, so it's there mostly for function, but it does give the full combined mode its own waist joint. His hips have some ratchets. One is a little bit tighter than the other one. Interesting that it's kind of the same for both his hips and shoulders on as far as like which side that's on. So he's got pretty much full forward and back movement there. He's got thigh swivel. He's got a nice deep bending knee, which is again mostly for the transformation, but helps out the toy a lot on his own. And that's pretty much it. His feet are actually molded in a certain way so that he actually is meant to stand with a bit of an A stance. So for weaponry, he comes with big old sword. And in this mode, the sword is actually more sized for Menasor, but I think it looks pretty good with Motormaster wielding it. It's kind of hard to, it's because of the way it's meant to go through one of those peg holes on the combiner limb hands. It doesn't quite work just for his own hands unless you like really force it in there. But yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Now, to differentiate his weapons from Menasor's, you're actually supposed to pop this thing apart, which gives you a little gun and also like a short sword. And I actually like the gun a fair bit. You know, it's kind of weird and somewhat sort of movie-esque, but it doesn't look too bad as a weird techie alien gun thing. The short sword, though, it's just like, it's just the top part of the sword. It's not particularly impressive on its own, so I actually just prefer to give him just the full sword if I want to use it at all. Alright, so I'm actually going to check out, we're going to go through his transformation truck mode first before I focus on the combiner, just so we can end this review looking at Menasor exclusively. Alright, so let's go truck mode. So because of how this toy is also being used as Optimus Prime, you're going to see a lot of that kind of classic Prime transformation going on as I turn him into a truck. But again, I still think this toy is much better as Motormaster than it is Optimus Prime. So to start off, you're going to make his whole head rotate inward till it clicks in place. You're going to bring his legs together, just kind of peg everything in there. and flip up his feet. And again, it's weird because like this one snaps in place, this one doesn't. I don't know. Doesn't affect anything, but it's just weird little inconsistencies with the toy. You're going to bring his knees all the way back like this, and again, very Optimus Prime-esque. And while you're here, you're going to want to put his elbows in like this. And you can start to rotate this whole thing around because this is going to form the front of the truck mode. So here, you're going to want to disengage this thing. It actually slots onto a pair of little tiny tabs right here for robot mode and also for truck mode. But it's the way it works, it's on its own little hinge, and I'm going to move his hips pretty much all the way forward. Make sure that they click so that they're resting against this part in here. And then bring this back and down and just kind of like push it in here, because he actually has a bit of a kind of a chest joint that's going to let him all of this come back up like this. And actually, you probably saw the combiner mode head is inside here, and this is the position you want it to be in for truck mode, where the back of the head is kind of lined up with the kind of the top part of the roof here, because any other way and you can't get this to close down nicely. The head will start to bang into this part and will force the doors in front open. So bring this all down like that, and then just bring this up. So get this kind of as tight as you can, like this, before you start to bring his arms around. So you're going to do this and flip up this panel here. You don't have enough room quite yet to bring it all the way up, but I find it's easier to just bring the panel up as you're going in like this. So you're going to tab together these two parts of his shoulders to form the windshield, and also parts of his front grille here. And this is going to go over the tab here. There's basically a little slot in the back of it. So yeah, just gotta get that in there and do that on the other side. And you're just gonna pop all this together. Alright. And obviously you're going to flip over these little wind vanes. And here we go. We got Motormaster in truck mode. And let me transform all the other guys so I can put them in the shot too. So Motormaster's truck mode is your basic Transformer semi-cab. It's a nice meaty feeling toy, and he rolls around pretty nicely on his plastic wheels. Details are okay. I mean, he's got his purple windows, a little bit of purple on the side there, kind of like the old trailer for the G1 toy. But he's actually, he's pretty light on paint. I mean, especially now that we've seen the Unite Warriors version, this one just feels very, a little like under budget, or I shouldn't say under budget, I mean limited by its budget. I would have preferred to see more of the purple windows kind of filled in here, which the Unite Warriors one has, painted rims on the wheels, and other stuff like that. I also kind of like how the Unite Warriors one is just a kind of dark gray truck, which means he would just be like the cab of the old G1 toy. And plus, in the cartoon, Menasor had a dark gray torso, just because of how everything worked out. So it would make more sense to make Motormaster all dark gray to facilitate that. The most you can do with this mode, other than, play with it as a truck, is you can just tab together two parts of his sword, and then it just kind of sticks in the back here. The gun also can fit right here, but unfortunately if you try to put the sword on it, it just gets a little bit... Oh no, actually it does work. It is just like a tiny bit too close to that, but if you get everything locked together tight, then you can totally have the sword in the back here. And other than that, I think he needed... He doesn't actually, need a trailer, but I do think it would be cool if there was a trailer with him, because then he could carry around all his buddies here, and these are the Stunticons. And this lets me get the chance to make a correction. You can totally put Breakdown's engine thing on in like full Sunstreaker mode. It just sort of like tabs in the back here and then fits onto some tabs in his roof. So I'll take that off again for the more pure Stunticon look. So they all look good together. They're all, aside from quality control issues with dead end, very nice solid toys. And when I get into the combination, you're going to see that this is all, you know, a pretty smooth transformation to get these guys to become Menasor. So assembling Menasor is both easy and pretty fun to do. So I'm going to take Motormaster and convert him into torso mode, which is kind of most of the way back into his own robot mode with a couple of twists. So you just kind of take all this apart, bring these out, and untab this from the back here. And as you bring this down, you're going to rotate Motormaster's own legs forward, click them out to the side. It's like 2 clicks. Bend his own knees like this, and there's this panel that's going to come up, and it actually tabs in up here. And I will start off with the, I guess it's actually like sort of 3 clicks. Anyway, I will start off with the official combiner mode, but then I'm just going to switch to that fan configuration that you've seen in my other videos. So you kind of have his hips all done right here. You can open up this front part and then bring up Menasor's head and flip up his horns. And I just kind of like to leave this thing closed up. You can see in here there's like a weird cannon thing that's vaguely Age of Extinction Galvatron-esque, but I'm not really into it. And also I don't have Blackjack, and I wasn't really interested in getting him. One of our other reviewers did do Blackjack, so you can check out that review. And if I get one of my own, I will do an extra video to just kind of show how he works with Menasor. So you're going to bring these and you're just going to tab this in the back here and do the same thing on this side. Yeah, once it all lines up, it's all pretty good there. Alright, so this is Motormaster in torso mode. So let me get all the other limbs and make him more than just a quadruple amputee. Alright, let's turn this Decepticon orgy into an actual big giant fighting robot. So start off with the legs. You've seen this a bit in my other videos. You just slide these combiner bits in there and they stay in until you push on this black piece here. So that is really solid, and it's just way better than the old system. You remember with the every combiner limb had a blocky head you just jammed in someplace and they would always break and you'd be sad and you had to cry to your parents and all that kind of stuff. So here is the assembled Menasor. Personally, I actually like to fold Motormaster's fists back down and then flip up the little wind vane there to hide these hands from the front. And this is the default configuration that they tell you to do in the instructions, where he's got this kind of bow-legged stance here. And this is more like the old G1 toy. It looks a little weird, honestly. And on mine, his hip ratchets aren't quite symmetrical, so he doesn't really like do it correctly. But if you want to fix it, it's really easy. All you have to do is untab these panels here and just straighten out Motormaster's legs. And you know, here we go. Now Menasor looks like 1,000 times better. And the weird thing is, my toy, because of the way his hip ratchets are a little wonky, he actually works better like this. So, go figure. Anyway, Menasor is, he's a good foot tall. I actually really like the way he looks. I think he's got like that proper, like updated version of like the old G1 toy. And you saw he's, with my reviews of the individual limbs, he's got, you know, nice articulation in his shoulders, in his knees. And because of Motormaster, he has a waist joint. He's got a nice clicky hip joints that go in and out. And also you kind of have to deal with the fact that with these not pegged in, you do have this like extra sort of semi-hip joint too. You know, and these go out like this. If you get dead end out of the way there. Come on. Yeah, you can put his legs out like this. This hip joint's a little loose though. It's a bit stronger on this side. Not that I don't think a lot of people are going to be doing like high kicks with their Menasors. And with these little like heel struts in the back, they're nice and tight, so it really helps Menasor just kind of stand up if you just place him down anywhere. And yeah, here he is from the back. You know, pretty much all like the ports on the individual members and Motormaster are still unobstructed, so you can just stick all of their weapons back on the Combiner if you need them. And with his fists with Motormaster's fists like this, I actually like to use the back here as a place to store his sword. But otherwise, if you want to use the sword, you just jam this thing right into the hole on either of the Combiner's hand thingies. Oh yeah, and he does have like a nice, crazy jointed head up here. The only problem is there's like a little like gap between the little platform the head is attached to and Motormaster's body, and it's just kind of like you notice it from certain angles, but otherwise it's not too bad. So you stay in there. So yeah, he's nice. He's articulated. He looks good. He's fun to put together. He's not perfect, as you can kind of see, just either like quality construction or the quality control on the figures, or just like the fact that his default look is kind of not intimidating at all. But you know, as soon as you just like do this, it's great. He looks like a proper big chunky Menasor. And one thing I do think that's really cool about this figure is you can actually get him to kneel down, which I've not really handled any third-party stuff, but I've never really seen a lot of the big third-party combiners just like kneel. So yeah, you can totally have your Combiner Wars Menasor kneel down, and it looks neat. From what I've seen, Silver Bolt is a better torso. I have not messed with one yet, because I'm still waiting on the Night Warriors version. But I just do like that you got like just a whole bunch of stuff you can do with Menasor, and he's fun. I think that's the important thing. That if you just want like a Combiner you can go out, get it at a store, hopefully, and bash them all together and you get a giant robot, then this is great. You know, this is like bringing the fun back to Combiners, and good on Hasbro and Takara Tomy for doing this, because I know Combiners are always sort of a awkward prospect business-wise over the years. But anyway, I'm super happy with this. Like, this is just cool. You know, I just love to like put them together, take them apart, play around with the individual guys, put them all up as Menasor. It's like, yeah, this is like really hits me at like my nostalgia for Combiners growing up. So anyways, this has been Andrew for CollectionDX.com, having some fun with Transformers Combiner Wars, and trust me, there's going to be more reviews in the future.